Bhyo Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaurabhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Okay, quick revision from yesterday. Hello. Yes, so much.
Prabhuji, we started with the discussion on the name Bhakti Rasa Amrita Sindhu. That initially we started with what is Bhakti, a complete science. It's written as the complete science of Bhakti Yoga. So science, what are the different aspects of science? Science is applicable to all in all situations, in all circumstances. It has some theory, it has some practices, and it has to be applied, and the results are common for everybody. So these are also very universal principles Rupa Goswami is giving us.
Okay, good. Thank you.
We saw differences of spiritual rasa and material rasa. So various like material rasa is limited while spiritual rasa is unlimited. And it is like material rasa is ending, but spiritual rasa is unending. So many more differences.
Okay, fine. Thank you.
Krishna Prabhuji, regarding rasa, Lord Krishna reciprocated with all rasas in arena.
Therefore, he is called as yes, Akhila Rasamrita Murti. Okay, good.
So all rasas like Vatsalya rasa and Bhayanak rasa and Vibhatsa rasa, etc.
Okay, we saw the example of Krishna Balaram entering into the wrestling arena. Okay, Ujjwal.
You said rasa means mellow, means relationship. To work, for working hard, we need relationship. That is the impetus for.
Yes.
So same principle with relationship with Krishna also. If you apply, you will work hard for Krishna.
Yes. So, yes, basically relationship rasa. That's the impetus for one to perform some activity. Okay, a few more points. Okay. Radha Vallabha. Correct, no?
Yes. So we discussed about devotees are like sharks. So how devotees are like sharks? Rupa Goswami gives three reasons. Like sharks are never caught on fisherman's net. Sharks like to live in oceans, and sharks reject rivers. So why sharks reject rivers? So devotees reject all other paths other than bhakti, and they live in ocean because they dive. Similarly, devotees dive deep into the ocean, and they
ocean
never
of
got
bhakti.
Ocean of bhakti, and sharks get never caught in fisherman's net. Similarly, devotees never get caught in illusion of Maya. And you gave example of Prabhupada, how he extends this analogy to impersonalists. How impersonalists, because they are on the upper surface of the river, they go up and they come down again, because even if they go up to Brahma Jyoti and they come down again in this material world. Similarly, the devotees, because they dive deep into the ocean of bhakti, they will never get caught, and they always relish Krishna bhakti.
Good, thank you.
So you are mentioning about the first canto, 4 chapter 27 number. Prabhupada has told that the perfection cannot be obtained when the heart is dissatisfied, and this satisfaction cannot be searched in the matter. It is beyond the matter. It can be obtained beyond the matter.
Only on the transcendental platform. Yes. Okay, good.
He is expressing his agya. So that's how, as a preacher of Krishna consciousness, we have to follow in the footsteps of previous acharyas. So
think oneself as instrument in the hands of the previous acharyas. Yes, Sri Sanatan.
Yes, please. Discussing on Srimad Bhagavatam verse 4.30.21, you told that there was purport of Srila Prabhupada that all spiritual matters are satisfying to her, although repeated thousands and thousands of times, because this subject matter is ever fresh, because this is in connection with the Supreme Lord Krishna, who is ever fresh, ever youth. So that's why
who makes it ever fresh? Paramatma. When? For whom?
Sincere.
Yes, for the sincere unlocked devotees. Yes, good.
The missing point is Krishna. If he pleased to Krishna, then everything will be pleased. Like
Yes.
there is two example given, like tree and root in our body parts.
Feeding the stomach. Okay. If we please Krishna, then everyone else will be pleased. Okay.
Yes. For those who are having material outlook, for them over the period of time, enthusiasm come down because initially things are new. So for them, they have to change their consciousness. You discussed like so, and one important more point you told that we have to associate with those devotees because Shraddha can only be transferred from their heart to our heart. So we have to associate with them who are always enthusiastic, and, who is having faith.
We discussed one point that in the transcendental service of Lord, there is no retirement at all. With the increase of age, our sincerity and purity should increase more and more.
Good point to remember, no? Okay. And then we began our discussion on the Paribhasha Sutra. Anya Vilashita Shunyam Jnana Karmadyanavritam Anukulyena Krishnano Shilanam Bhakti Ruttama. When first class devotional service develops, one must be devoid of all material desires, knowledge obtained by monastic philosophy, and fruitive action. The devotee must constantly serve Krishna favorably as Krishna desires. So the Acharyas have divided this verse into two parts. That is the Swarup Lakshan and Tatastha Lakshan. So within the Swarup Lakshan, there are three characteristics. That is basically the first part of the verse. Anya abhilashita shunyam jnana karmadi anavritam anukulyena krishnanu shilanam bhakti uttama. So in the Swarup Lakshan, there are three characteristics. That is Krishna, Anushilanam, and Anukulyena. Okay, these three are Swarup Lakshan. Somebody can change the slides. Okay, next. Okay. No, bas. Okay, so these are the three Swarup Lakshan and two Tatastha Lakshan. So now why this division has been made? So for any activity to be called as devotional service, the Swarup Lakshan have to be present. If the Swarup Lakshan are not present, the activity cannot even be called as devotional service. So even to say that this activity is devotional service, bhakti, the Swarup Lakshan have to be present. And the Tatastha Lakshan are basically qualifying the word Uttama. So not only just devotional service, if it has to be pure devotional service, Uttama devotional service, then the Tatastha Lakshan also have to be present. Okay, so that is why the two aspects of the verse are there. So now we will discuss each one of them. So beginning with Krishna. Go next. Okay. So now we will read from Srila Prabhupada's book. Srila Prabhupada doesn't get into technicalities, but everything is there. So in the introduction, this is Roman page number 23. So in the beginning, you can see that when we speak of Krishna, you got that? मिल गया सबको? सबको मिल गया? Different books have different page numbers, I think. We are in the introduction. We have not yet started the first chapter. Right, the first paragraph there. When we speak of Krishna, nahi mila? It is the almost 3-4 lines down the first paragraph on this page. Yes, that same paragraph in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, that paragraph only, further down. You go further down that paragraph in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, further down, when we speak of Krishna. मिला कि नहीं सबको? मिल गया ना? साधु? Got it? Okay. When we speak of Krishna, we refer to the Supreme Personality of Godhead along with his many expansions. He is expanded by his plenary parts and parcels, his differentiated parts and parcels, and his different energies. Krishna, in other words, means everything and includes everything. Correct? So when we say Krishna, it includes everything. Because what is separate from Krishna? Nothing is separate from Krishna. So everything is included within Krishna. Then when we speak of bhakti, we can worship anything as Krishna, correct? Because everything is Krishna. This is also Krishna. This is Krishna, correct? Yes, this is also Krishna. We studied in Bhagavad Gita, correct? How this is Krishna? Yes, this is energy of Krishna. So it is Krishna. So you can worship पेड़ पत्थर सब चलता है, करेक्ट? लोग वही करते हैं ना, किसी भी पेड़ को लो, पत्थर को लो, पूजा करो, सब सही है, करेक्ट? Because everything is Krishna. So therefore, yes, philosophically everything is Krishna, but still when we come to the understanding of bhakti, then who is to be worshipped as Krishna? That Rupa Goswami is clarifying. Generally, however, we should understand Krishna to mean Krishna and his personal expansions. Krishna expands himself as Baladev, Shankarshan, Vasudeva, Aniruddha, Pradyumna, Rama, Narasimha, Vara, as well as many other incarnations and innumerable Vishnu expansions. These are described in Srimad Bhagavatam to be as numerous as the uncountable waves. So Krishna includes, so when we speak of devotional service to Krishna, what does it include? So Krishna includes all such expansions. Which expansions? Which expansions? Swamshas, the Vishnu expansions. So it includes all such expansions as well as his pure devotees. Correct? So earlier, Srila Prabhupada has written, Krishna expands himself. So there are two types of expansions. What are they? Swamshas, Vibhinnamshas. Swamshas include? Yes, all the Vishnu Tattvas are Swamshas. Vibhinnamshas are Jiva Tattva. So therefore, kya ho gaya? No, I'm okay. I'm okay. I don't need. No problem. I'm fine. हाँ नहीं नहीं ये तो ये घूम रहा है ना. So Swamshas, Vibhinnamshas. So all the Swamshas, worshipping any of the Swamshas are included within bhakti. Okay? Worshipping the Swamshas, Vishnu Tattvas are included within bhakti. As far as the Vibhinnamshas are concerned, the living entities, all Vibhinnamshas are not included within bhakti. But only the pure devotees, they are also Vibhinnamshas only, they are also Jivas. But worship of the pure devotees is considered to be devotional service. Okay. So therefore, we should understand Krishna to mean Krishna and his personal expansion. So Krishna includes all such expansions, that is the Swamshas, as well as his pure devotees. Now, there is one more aspect of this who is included within Krishna. So therefore, you keep the previous one. So when we speak of Krishna, Krishna is never alone. Okay, Krishna is never alone. So worship of Krishna is never done only Krishna. So just like in that picture, is Krishna alone? Who else is there? Yes, so many things are there. So Krishna is never alone. That is Mayavad. So in the early days of ISKCON, one painter painted a picture of Krishna, only Krishna alone. So when Srila Prabhupada saw that, no, this is Mayavad, only Krishna. Krishna is never alone. So in our Siddhanta, Krishna is always worshipped along with his, the internal potency. So therefore, it is always Radha, Krishna, Lakshmi Narayan, Sita, Ram. So Krishna is never worshipped alone. Now, in addition, there is one more aspect. So you leave one paragraph and go to the next. Just one second. So read that. The impersonal sometimes. Our lines are put. Ujjwal Nirmal proof.
The impersonalists sometimes misunderstand devotional service in such a way that they divide Krishna from his paraphernalia and pastimes. For example, the Bhagavad Gita is spoken on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, and the impersonalists say that although Krishna is of interest, the battlefield of Kurukshetra isn't. The devotees, however, also know that battlefield of Kurukshetra by itself has nothing to do with their business. But in addition, they know that Krishna does not mean just Krishna alone. He is alone. He is always with his associates and paraphernalia. For instance, if someone says, give something to eat to the man with the weapons, the eating process is done by the man, not by the weapons. Similarly, in Krishna consciousness, a devotee may be interested in the paraphernalia and locations such as the battlefield of Kurukshetra, which are associated with Krishna. But he is not concerned with simply any battlefield. He is concerned with the Krishna, his speech, his instructions, etc. It is because Krishna is there that the battlefield is so important.
Yes. So now one more aspect of Krishna is being included, and that is the paraphernalia. Anything associated with Krishna is also Krishna and is therefore worshipable. Srila Prabhupada is giving example of the battlefield of Kurukshetra. So the battlefield of Kurukshetra is also worshipable because Krishna performed his pastimes there. So similarly, the place where Krishna performs so many other pastimes like Vrindavan, Mathura, Dwaraka, Jagannath Puri. So all these places also become worshipable because Krishna performed his pastimes. We read in the Chaitanya Charitamrita of how when Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went to the place where Ishwar Puri took birth. Which place? Kumaratan. So when he went there, what he did? Yes, he collected the dust, he took it with him, and every day he used to honor it a little bit every day because that place is worshipable. So, and similarly, all other paraphernalia like the kartals, mridang, the various deity paraphernalia, all of them are worshipable because they're all connected with Krishna. They're all considered to be expansions of what? Balram. They are all considered to be expansions of Balram. So therefore, they all become worshipable. Similarly, these books, the Shastras, they are also worshipable. Also, all this paraphernalia which is related to Krishna also becomes worshipable. So when we talk of Krishna, so three things are included. What are they? First is Krishna himself, then his immediate expansion, so the Swamshas, the Vishnu Tattvas, then his pure devotees and paraphernalia. So worship of all this is included within devotional service to Krishna. Just like today, of course, is appearance day of Advaita Acharya. So we have the photo of Advaita Acharya on the altar. So of course, he is not only just a devotee, he is Mahavishnu along with Sadashiv. So therefore, definitely worshipable. Okay, what's your question?
In Madhva Sampradaya, they worship only Krishna. Like in Udupi, we see only Krishna is there.
I was just expecting the question.
And Madhvacharya is known for defeating Mayavad. So how we can say?
Anyone wants to answer the question? There is cow also there.
Yeah.
And churning rod.
But
butter in hand. And there is the flute is there.
So as you gave one example, Guruji, that one devotee painted only Krishna. So anything on body of Krishna is also a devotee, like garland.
So I don't know exactly what he painted.
Huh.
So, but that pastime comes that he painted only Krishna. So, any case, so the point is that so some paraphernalia are there even in this.
So
Udupi.
anything on body of Krishna will be a devotee only, like even dhoti. So except if it paints Krishna naked.
But of course, that is almost an integral part of Krishna, his clothing and all that. But then some other paraphernalia definitely are usually worshipped in all our Vaishnava Sampradayas. Some other paraphernalia is usually always there. And of course, as far as most Vaishnavas, they worship along with internal potency, right? Except Madhvas, of course, may not have the internal potency, but some other paraphernalia are definitely there. Okay, fine. So that is the first Swarup Lakshan. As Srila Prabhupada says in many lectures, if one cannot say that I am performing bhakti to Durga or Ganesh. So even though colloquially speaking, people do say I am Ganesh Bhakta or Shiv Bhakta or some Bhakta like that. But that is not the understanding of devotional service. When you speak of bhakti, then it's only bhakti to Krishna and Krishna's expansions. So only that can be called as bhakti, devotional service. Okay, so that's the first Swarup Lakshan. Without that, you cannot call the activity devotional service. Next. Okay, so the next Swarup Lakshan is Anushilanam. So here Anu has two meanings. One is following the previous acharyas, and the second meaning is constantly, continuously. And Shilanam means behavior, so comes from the root word shil, which essentially means some activity. Okay, so now let's read from Prabhupada's book about Anushilanam. So for this, you'll have to go a little before. So this is Roman page number 21. So the second paragraph on the page. This devotional service is a sort of cultivation.
This devotional service is a sort of cultivation. It is not simply inaction for people who like to be inactive or devote their time to silent meditation. There are many different methods for people who want this, but cultivation of Krishna consciousness is different. The particular word used by Srila Rupa Goswami in this connection is anusilana, or cultivation by following predecessors, teachers, acharyas. As soon as we say cultivation, we must refer to activity. Without activity, consciousness alone cannot help us. All activities may be divided into two classes. One class may be for achieving a certain goal, and other may be for avoiding some unfavorable circumstances. In Sanskrit, these activities are called pravriti and nivriti, positive and negative action. There are many examples of negative actions. For instance, a diseased person has to be cautious and take medicine in order to avoid some unfavorable illness. Those who are cultivating spiritual life and executing devotional service are always engaged in activity. Such activity can be performed with the body or with the mind. Thinking, feeling, and willing are all activities of the mind. And when we will do something, the activity comes to manifest by the gross bodily senses. Thus, in our mental activities, we should always try to think of Krishna and try to plan how to please him, following in the footsteps of the great acharyas and the personal spiritual masters. There are activities of the bodies, activities of the mind, and activities of speech. A Krishna conscious person engages his words in preaching the glories of the Lord. This is called kirtana. And by his mind, a Krishna conscious person always think of the activities of the Lord as he is speaking on the battlefield of Kurukshetra or engaging in his various pastimes in Vrindavan with his devotees. In this way, one can always think of the activities and the pastimes of the Lord. This is the mental culture of the Krishna consciousness.
One more paragraph.
Similarly, we can offer many services with our bodily activities, but all such activities must be in relation with Krishna. This relationship is established by connecting oneself with bona fide spiritual master, who is direct representative of Krishna in disciplic succession. Therefore, the execution of Krishna consciousness activities with the body should be directed by the spiritual master and then performed with faith. The connection with the spiritual master is called initiation. From the date of initiation by the spiritual master, the connection between Krishna and a person cultivating Krishna consciousness is established. Without initiation by a bona fide spiritual master, the actual connection with Krishna consciousness is never performed.
Okay. So here, Anushilanam. So, as Srila Prabhupada is writing here, this devotional service is a sort of cultivation. It is not simply inaction for people who like to be inactive or devote their time to silent meditation. So, sometimes people think bhakti means just sit silently in meditation. No activity. So that is what the understanding which people have. But Srila Prabhupada has written in the purport to the third verse of the Nectar of Instruction, right in the beginning of the purport, Srila Prabhupada has written, devotional service is not a matter of sentimental speculation or imaginative ecstasy. It is a matter of practical activity. Correct? Devotional service is not a matter of sentimental speculation or imaginative ecstasy. So sentimental speculation refers to the jnanis, the mental speculators, and imaginative ecstasy refers to the sahajiyas. So devotional service is not something to be speculated. One can't speculate. Maybe I'll perform bhakti like this. Maybe in bhakti, I'll chant throughout the day. Chanting is important, correct? So I'll chant throughout the day. That is bhakti. Or I'll read throughout the day. So it is not a matter of some sentimental, mental speculation. So therefore it is following. One has to follow the previous acharyas. No speculation involved. No speculation. So therefore Srila Prabhupada often condemned perhaps, maybe, no. No perhaps, maybe. Whatever we do is definite. What the Acharya says, do that. And not imaginative ecstasy, not imagining oneself to be very elevated, very advanced, so I can imagine something I can do on my own, not like that. So it is practical activity in accordance to the instructions of the previous acharyas. So therefore, Srila Prabhupada didn't appreciate some whimsically performed activities or no activities, something like that. In that connection, we read about this pastime of when Srila Prabhupada was in Vrindavan. Every morning Srila Prabhupada would go for his morning walk, and there was one devotee at that time who, as Srila Prabhupada would leave the Krishna Balaram temple, he would stand at the entrance and he would recite some verses glorifying Srila Prabhupada. And Srila Prabhupada would stand there for a minute or so, hear it, and he would walk. But on one particular day, when this devotee began to glorify him, he stopped him and he said, okay, that's all right, but what are you doing about this huge puddle of water near the entrance? Do something about it. So Srila Prabhupada wanted some practical activity to please Guru and Krishna, because the manifestation of love is in doing some activity for the beloved. So if the wife tells the husband, I love you so much, and she's sleeping throughout the day, not doing any service, what type of love is that? So therefore, there has to be some practical activity to please Guru and Krishna. That is the manifestation of love. So that's cultivation. So one has to cultivate that activity or the mood of service. The service attitude needs to be cultivated. That means it is not something which in the conditioned state one may have it. Of course, the tendency to serve is always there, because that is the characteristic or the dharma of the soul. Srila Prabhupada said so many times. The natural characteristic of every soul is to love and to serve. That is natural. And Srila Prabhupada often says that. So everyone wants to serve someone, he wants to love someone. One does not have anyone to love or serve, he keeps a dog and all that. So therefore that propensity to love and serve is there for everyone. But in the conditioned state, one doesn't have the propensity to serve Krishna. One has forgotten that. And so therefore, that has to be reawakened or cultivated. It is a cultivation. It is to be cultivated now, because we have forgotten that. It has to be cultivated. So therefore, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave the example of the Bhakti Lata Beej. So just like beej, seed is sown in the soil and then watering. The whole process is cultivating a crop, cultivating some plants. So it's a cultivation. And just like for any other plants, there is a process to be followed, correct? When the process is properly followed, then we can expect good crops. If the process is not properly followed, can we expect? No, we cannot expect good crops. If the watering is not done properly, we cannot expect. If there are too many weeds, one cannot expect. And at the same time, it will also takes some time, isn't it? Takes some time for the crops to grow. It doesn't happen overnight. So similarly, bhakti is a cultivation. It is a process which needs to be gradually cultivated, and gradually one will experience the results. So therefore, it is said it is a cultivation. It is practical activity. One has to do that activity in order to get the results. So now the next point he speaks about is, okay, so then there are two types of activities. Okay, now we go to the next one. Okay, so we read this without activity, consciousness. Okay. Okay, fine. You can read this. This I got from Vishwanath Chakravarti's commentary.
This service or Anushilanam, obtainable only by the mercy of Krishna and his devotees, is a transformation of the Lord's Swarup Shakti and thus is not material but spiritual. However, one should understand that though it is purely spiritual, it makes its appearance and is not created since it is eternal in the body, mind, and the words by taking over the functions of the body, mind, and words.
So this is bhakti. So because bhakti is never material, it is totally spiritual activity. So therefore he says, it's only obtainable by the mercy of Krishna and his devotees and is a transformation of the Lord's Swarup Shakti. And therefore it's not material. So all our devotional activities, they are totally spiritual. They are not material. They are spiritual activities. So therefore, it's a manifestation of the Lord's Swarup Shakti or the Chit Shakti, a spiritual activity. But then somebody may say, okay, but if it is spiritual activity, we are performing all these spiritual activities with what? Material body, mind, senses, everything is material. Then how does it become spiritual? So therefore, the important point is that obtainable only by the mercy of Krishna and his devotees. What makes the activity spiritual is the connection to the spiritual potency. Therefore, that connection to the spiritual potency is very important. Therefore, the anu is very important. Just like Bhagavad Gita 9th chapter, 13th verse. What is 9th chapter 13th? हाँ उसके पहले. That is 14. What is 13? वो कहाँ गए अब? हाँ, मात मानस्तु माम पार्थ देवीं प्रकृतिम आश्रिता भजन्त्यनन्य मनसो ज्ञात्वा भूतादिम अव्ययम. So the Mahatmas have taken shelter of Devi Prakriti, that is the internal potency. So when we take shelter of the Mahatmas, the devotees, and follow their instructions, then our activities will also become spiritual. Therefore, that point of following is very important. And that's the reason why Srila Prabhupada gave great emphasis on that. And of course, Srila Prabhupada himself followed. So many times Srila Prabhupada, he says, many people say, Swamiji, you have done some magic. You have done miracle, you have done wonders, but I have not done any wonders, I have not done any miracles. My only qualification is that I have simply followed the instructions of my spiritual master. That's it. That is what gives the spiritual potency. That is what gives the spiritual touch to our material activities. The spiritual touch has to be there by the connection with the spiritual potency. Devi Prakriti Ashrita. One Srila Prabhupada was in the first year when Srila Prabhupada came to Vrindavan with his devotees. This was in 1970. And he brought them to Vrindavan also, brought his disciples to Vrindavan. So at that time, the devotees had heard so many glories of Vrindavan, that it's Chintamani Dham, everything is touchstone, everything is spiritual. So they heard so many things. So Gurudas Prabhu writes this pastime. So they were wondering whether we can wear footwear in Vrindavan. So once on a morning walk, so Gurudas Prabhu is following Srila Prabhupada. And so Gurudas Prabhu asked Srila Prabhupada, so Srila Prabhupada, we heard this Vrindavan is Chintamani Dham, can we wear footwear? So Srila Prabhupada's answer was, just do as I am doing. That was the answer. So Srila Prabhupada therefore emphasized this point, and he emphasized the principle of following. That is what makes our activities spiritual. Because this service, what service? Devotional service, Anushinam, obtainable only by the mercy of Krishna and his devotees. So, however, one should understand that though it is purely spiritual, so devotional activities are purely spiritual, it makes its appearance, and is not created, since it is eternal. Nitya Siddha, Krishna Prem, Sadhya Kabunoi, Shravanadi Shuddha Chitte Karai Udoy. It is awakened. It's already there, but it's not something to be created. It is eternal, but it makes its appearance. It makes its appearance, or it becomes manifest. Now it is unmanifest. Why? Because it's covered. It's covered because of all the material contamination. It's covered. It is there, but it is covered. So therefore, by performing the activities in accordance to the instructions, then Shravanadhi, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam, Padasevanam, by performing these activities, what will happen? Karaye Udhai. That means it becomes manifest. So that's what. It's not created, but it becomes manifest, or it makes its appearance in the body, mind, and words by taking over the functions of the body, mind, and words. So yes, so in order for that devotional service to manifest, we need to engage the body, mind, and words in accordance to the instructions of the devotees. Okay, now good. Okay, that same point. Okay. That same point Srila Prabhupada explains in the next paragraph of what we just read. So somebody can read that next paragraph. This cultivation of Krishna consciousness is not material.
The Lord has three general energies, namely the external energy, the internal energy, and the marginal energy. The living entities are called marginal energy, and the material cosmic manifestation is the action of the external or material energy. Then there is the spiritual world, which is a manifestation of the internal energy. The living entities, who are called marginal energy, perform material activities when acting under the inferior external energy. And when they engage in activities under the internal spiritual energy, their activities are called Krishna conscious. This means that those who are great souls or great devotees do not act under the spell of material energy, but act instead under the protection of the spiritual energy. Any activities done in a spiritual service or in Krishna consciousness are directly under the control of spiritual energy. In other words, energy is a sort of strength, and this strength can be spiritualized by the mercy of both the bona fide spiritual master and Krishna.
Yes, so that same point Prabhupada is explaining over here. So therefore, any activities in devotional service are directly under the control of the spiritual energy. And that's what the previous sentence. This means that those who are great souls or great devotees do not act under the spell of material energy, but act instead under the protection of the spiritual energy. So this point is clear. How the activities in devotional service, even though performed with our material body, mind, and senses, become spiritualized by contact with the pure devotees who have taken shelter of the spiritual energy or the internal energy.
Any service, it is like under the guidance of spiritual master or Srila Prabhupada has said, so that we can see it's a spiritual connection. But suppose one new person comes to the temple and he just volunteers, I want to do some service, and some XYZ devotee gives him some service, do this. So that devotee may not be very pure, so he's doing that service under him. So how can see that connection?
Yes, so why is that devotee rendering service?
Because he has a connection with his.
That's the point.
And he may do voluntarily also. Na, some people come, some Matajis come, they go without any some, because tendency to serve is there. So some in village, some Matajis come, they sweep the temple without nobody tells them. So how we can see it then?
So, but in any case, of course, especially in our ISKCON temples, usually they will ask permission, right?
Yeah.
Usually. Here, at least, nobody will just do something outside temples. Things may happen like that. But at least here in our setup, usually any service somebody wants to do, they will contact some devotee, some authorized person, and they will do the service. So that whoever that devotee or the person is, then he is connected. He is connected to his superiors, his superiors, his superiors. That's how the connection is always there. And so therefore, anyone who's rendering any type of service, if he's getting instruction from a devotee, then that means that connection to the spiritual energy is there, and that is why the benefit is there.
But in general, we see people have a tendency when they come to temple, they bring some flowers, they bring some fruits for Lord. So is it, can we say, because anyway, everybody has a connection with Lord, so it's also spiritual in that way?
Yes, because they are coming with the intention to serve the Lord. So therefore it becomes spiritual. Now, because that connection is there, isn't it? The connection, the attitude is to please the Lord, to serve the Lord. So therefore that connection with the Lord is always there. But then, that is in a general sense. But if we want to make tangible spiritual progress, then the firm connection with the parampara through the bona fide devotees, that is very important. And so therefore, Srila Prabhupada often quoted the Padma Puran verse, Sampradaya vihina mantrasya nishvala mataha. So therefore, Srila Prabhupada made this point very clear, that even the Hare Krishna Mahamantra has to be received from the bona fide devotees in parampara. So therefore, sometimes some devotees may say that, well, Mahamantra is always powerful, so anyone can chant. Yes, anyone can chant, the benefit is going to be there. But if we want the full benefit of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, what is the full benefit that we are expecting? Yes, Krishna Prem. If you want that Krishna Prem to manifest, then that mantra, even the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, has to be received in parampara from the bona fide spiritual master. Therefore, Srila Prabhupada, in the previous paragraph, Srila Prabhupada is writing that the connection with the spiritual master before that. Therefore, the execution of Krishna conscious activities with the body should be directed by the spiritual master and then performed with faith. Directed by the spiritual master. And as far as the devotee who's performing the activity is concerned, he should have faith in the instruction of the spiritual master. So the spiritual master gives instruction, and the disciple, he should have faith in that instruction. That faith is Yasya Deve Parabhaktir Yatha deve tata guru tasyeta katita hi artha prakashante mahatmana. To those who have implicit faith in both the Supreme Lord and the spiritual master are all the imports or the purports of the Vedic literature revealed. So therefore, the important point is that the activity has to be performed under instruction as directed by the spiritual master, and one needs to have faith. This is a very often asked question, especially in the present age of faithlessness. Srila Prabhupada has written in Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, first chapter, text 10. What is that? Famous verse? So, yes, symptoms of Kali Yuga, Prayanal Parishusam. So in that purpose, Srila Prabhupada has written that this current age is surcharged. That's the word, surcharged with faithlessness. Surcharged with faithlessness. Why? Because in Kali Yuga, people have so many bad experiences with everyone. Everyone is in the mode of cheating only. Prabhupada says, even the mother on whom the child has full faith is ready to kill the child. So on whom to have faith? Even mother is behaving in that way. Then on whom one can have faith? Very difficult. Therefore, so much of faithlessness. And so even as devotees, this is a big problem. Everywhere we go, devotees ask this question. Okay, we can have faith in Krishna, we can have faith in Prabhupada, but how can we have faith in our... He reads my mind, huh? But this is the proof of how much big problem that is. Wherever we go practically, devotees ask this question. Because we see, okay, our authorities also, they have some difficulties, some problems, this, that. So how can we have faith? So the simple answer is, we need to see the connection. We need to see the connection. If we don't see the connection, you see the individual separate from the connection, then we will see, oh, okay, he's ordinary person, so many faults, all that. Yes, that may be true, but the fact remains that he is connected to the parampara. Who has placed that person in that responsible position? Who has placed him? Yes, his spiritual master. And how did that person become spiritual master? Because of his spiritual master. The connection needs to be seen. So therefore, even though that person may have some faults, but yet the instruction which he is giving is coming from not this person, but from the parampara. One has to see that connection. So, therefore, one has to think that the instruction is perfect. Just like when Srila Prabhupada was asked, are you perfect? What was Prabhupada's answer? I may not be perfect, but what I'm speaking is perfect because it is coming from the perfect source. That is how we should see all instructions, from whomever it is coming. Of course, we are not propagating blind following. Definitely clarifications and all that is allowed. But as a general principle, one needs to have faith because we see the connection of that person with the parampara. And therefore, Srila Prabhupada very much advocated and instructed that devotees need to follow their spiritual authorities. Srila Prabhupada was very firm on that principle, that devotees follow the temple presidents, devotees follow the temple commander. Srila Prabhupada made this entire management system. Correct? It has been given by Srila Prabhupada. For what? Not simply for some show or something like that. No, Srila Prabhupada expected that devotees follow the managerial system, follow their authorities. Just like another example which Srila Prabhupada gives, just like a policeman on the street. The constable on the street, the traffic policeman. Now, what is his character or what is his stature in society? He's a common person getting some little bit of salary. We don't know what is his character, all that. But still, even the millionaire stops the car when the constable tells him to stop. Why? There is a connection to the government. Because of that connection to the government, therefore the millionaire also stops his car. It is not on the basis of that person, but it is on the basis of connection. That connection gives him empowerment. That connection gives the power. Tomorrow, the day he is out of the service, who's going to see his face? No, who cares for him? Nobody will care for him. He can wave his hands left, right, center. Who cares? Nobody will care. But because he's wearing that uniform of the policeman and he's representing the government, then his just waving the hand carries so much of weight, so much of power because of connection. So similarly, whoever has been appointed a spiritual authority, he is empowered by the connection with the parampara. And therefore there is weight. Therefore the person has to be taken seriously. Therefore his instructions have to be taken seriously. And if a follower is sincere, then Krishna will give the right instructions through that person. But as a follower, I need to follow with faith. Of course, if I'm not able to have that full faith, I can always seek some clarification, some discussion can be there. But ultimately, I need to follow. That faith needs to be there. To the degree one has that faith, to that degree one will make progress. And that's what Srila Prabhupada is writing over here. Therefore, the execution of Krishna conscious activities with the body should be directed by the spiritual master and then performed with faith. The connection with the spiritual master is called initiation. From the date of initiation by the spiritual master, the connection between Krishna and a person cultivating Krishna consciousness is established. Without initiation by a bona fide spiritual master, the actual connection with Krishna consciousness is never performed. In that connection, somebody may ask this question, then what about spiritual activities performed before initiation? Are they valid? Does one get benefits? What's your answer? Why?
Tirasamrit Maharaj, when he came here, he said the fact that we have accepted shelter under a bona fide sampradaya and we have accepted some spiritual guidance of some spiritual master within our heart, at least the desire and the fact that we are able to. If you
say that, somebody may say, I have not even accepted shelter of a spiritual master.
But the fact that we are connected to the parampara and following the teachings of Srila Prabhupada in line with our authorities, that itself will.
And definitely we are performing those activities also under the guidance of some devotee, correct? Some bona fide devotee, correct? Every new person who comes here, there is some bona fide devotee who gives the beads, who tells him to chant, okay, read this. So there is always a connection to some bona fide devotee, and that makes the activities bona fide even before the formal initiation. But of course, the formal initiation is definitely required for the connection with the parampara. But even the activities performed before that are under the jurisdiction of Srila Prabhupada as the founder Acharya and being directed by some bona fide devotee. Okay. And so therefore, having faith in the process given by a devotee, given by an Acharya is very important. So one should not think Prabhupada has given only 16 rounds. Maybe he gave for the Western devotees because they were not qualified. So therefore, maybe at that time it was okay. Now we have become more advanced. So now maybe 16 rounds, the principle of 16 rounds, maybe it doesn't work now. Maybe something more needs to be done. Of course, one can chant extra rounds. There is no problem with that. But one should not underestimate the instructions of the Acharya. Okay, in that connection, it's worth reading one very instructive and very important purport of Srila Prabhupada. You can open. 10th canto, 2nd chapter, verse 31. Maybe we'll just read this. I'm specifically giving some additional references and additional points because all of you are a very special audience. I normally don't do all this with other Bhakti Shastri batches. But all of you already know so much. So it's worth going a little more to increase our faith and surrender in the process. 10 to 31. Okay, fine. Okay, read the translation and the purport.
Translation. O Lord, who resemble the
So this is praise of the demigods to Krishna Vrindavan.
O Lord, who resemble the shining sun, you are always ready to fulfill the desire of your devotees, and therefore you are known as a desire tree, Vancha Kalpataru. When acharyas completely take shelter under your lotus feet in order to cross the fierce ocean of nescience, they leave behind on earth the method by which they cross. And because you are very merciful to your other devotees, you accept this method to help them.
Yes, the verse itself is very clear actually, but anyway, Srila Prabhupada beautifully explains.
Purport. This statement reveals how the merciful acharyas and the merciful Supreme Personality of Godhead together help the serious devotee who wants to return home back to Godhead.
So in some other purport, Srila Prabhupada says this is teamwork. Krishna and his pure devotee, they combine together as a team. For what? For delivering the conditioned souls.
Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, in his teachings to Rup Goswami, said, Brahmanda Brahmite Kona Bhagyavana Jiva Guru Krishna Prasade Paya Bhakti Lata Bija. One can achieve the seed of Bhakti Lata, devotional service, by the mercy of Guru and Krishna. The duty of the Guru is to find the means, according to the time, the circumstances, and the candidate, by which one can be induced to render devotional service, which Krishna accepts from a candidate who wants to be successful in going back home, back to Godhead.
First of all, one should have the desire to be successful. If one doesn't have the desire, only who can do anything?
After wandering throughout the universe, a fortunate person within this material world seeks shelter of such a guru or acharya who trains the devotee in the suitable way. Suitable ways. Where is it? Suitable ways to render service according to the circumstances, so that the Supreme Personality of Godhead will accept the service.
So this is the speciality of the Acharya. What is the speciality of the Acharya? Who trains the devotee in the suitable ways to render service according to the circumstances. So circumstances may not be the same all the time. So therefore, the bona fide Acharya, he makes adjustments according to time, place, circumstances in the person, so that the Supreme Personality of Godhead will accept the service. Continue.
This makes it easier for the candidate to reach the ultimate destination. The Acharya's duty, therefore, is to find the means by which devotees may render service according to references from Shastra. Rup Goswami, for example, in order to help subsequent devotees, published such devotional books as Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu. Thus, it is the duty of the Acharya to publish books that will help future candidates take up the methods of service and become eligible to return home back to Godhead by the mercy of the Lord. In our Krishna consciousness movement, the same path is being prescribed and followed. Thus, the devotees have been advised to refrain from 4 sinful activities: illicit sex, intoxication, meat eating, and gambling, and to chant 16 rounds a day. These are bona fide instructions.
These are bona fide instructions. Very clear. These are bona fide instructions.
Because in the Western countries, constant chanting is not possible. One should not artificially imitate Haridas Thakur, but should follow this method. Krishna will accept a devotee who strictly follows the regulated.
That's the important statement. Krishna will accept a devotee who seriously follows the regulative principles and the method prescribed in the various books and literature published by the authorities. That is what the verse is actually saying. That is what the demigods are saying. That the Acharya leaves a method and Krishna accepts that method. Later on, 11th canto, Krishna says, Acharya mam vijaniya nava manyeta karhichit. The Acharya is as good as myself. So that is the empowerment which Krishna gives the Acharya. And so therefore, when the Acharya prescribes a method according to time, place, and circumstances, Krishna also accepts the method, because Krishna knows that this bona fide devotee of mine, he has given a method which is suitable according to time, place, circumstances, and person. Therefore, one needs to have the faith. When the Acharya gives an instruction, that faith is very important, that if I follow this, Krishna will accept. Krishna will accept. This is the, you could say, contracts between Krishna and the Acharya. And therefore, that faith is very important. Okay.
The Acharya gives the suitable method for crossing the ocean of nescience by accepting the boat of the Lord's lotus feet. And if this method is strictly followed, the followers will ultimately reach the destination by the grace of the Lord.
There's one word which Srila Prabhupada has repeated. What is that? By the grace of Somebody said it.
Suitable methods.
Yes, strictly. Krishna will accept a devotee who strictly follows. And then here, if this method is strictly followed, the followers will ultimately reach the destination by the grace of the Lord. That is the important point. See, therefore, there is no need of concocting something, imagining something. No. Whatever is the process given by the Acharya has to be strictly followed. That's all. Nothing extraordinary needs to be done. But whatever is the simple method that has been given needs to be strictly followed. That's all. And therefore, Srila Prabhupada, he said, you just follow the process that I've given. That's all. That's all that needs to be done. Nothing more and nothing less. Okay.
This method is called Acharya Sampradaya. It is therefore said, Sampradaya Vihina ye mantraste nisfala mata. Padma Puran. The Acharya Sampradaya is strictly bona fide. Therefore, one must accept the Acharya Sampradaya. Otherwise, one's endeavor will be futile. Shri Narottam Das Thakur therefore sings, Tandera charana sebi bhakta sanebas, janame janame hai yehi abhilas. One must worship the lotus feet of the Acharya and live within the society of devotees. Then one's endeavor to cross over nescience will surely be successful.
Actually, those are the only two things that need to be done. What? Worship the lotus feet of the Acharya. Worshipping means, okay, doing arti is one thing. But what is more important is Following the instructions, that is actual worship. Anyone can do arti without following. But that is the important point. And live within the society of devotees. That's what Srila Prabhupada expected. Remain within ISKCON, follow the instructions. Then what will happen? Then one's endeavors to cross over nations will surely be successful. You can see in the entire purport, you can see, not only this purport, so many purports. You will never find Srila Prabhupada writing ambiguous statements. May be successful, can be successful. No, what? Will be successful. Surely. That is the faith which Srila Prabhupada has in the process. And if we have faith in Srila Prabhupada's instructions, then the result will be this. We need to have faith. That's all. Any questions on this discussion? Okay.
Hare Krishna.
Okay, good.
As you mentioned that Shravanadi Shuddha Chitte Karaha Uday. So if somebody is one thing is told what is to be heard, like this lecture should be heard, or when somebody goes on desired dream is there and he hears lecture. So in that sense, in one sense, he's following instruction because Prabhupada told one should hear Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam from devotees. He goes and select proper lecture. Another thing is he's going and asking and hearing.
Of course,
that.
this is a detail. You're getting into a detail, specifically on Shravan Kirtan. I think so. This topic we can discuss a bit later when we specifically discuss about Shravanam as one of the angas of bhakti. We can discuss it. Okay. Yes.
We were discussing that we have to see the connection in spite of the faults. So now we have seen in ISKCON's history only, there are many cases devotees had faith in the Acharya or any bona fide representative, but they were not following properly and they were being institutionalized. We have to follow that person. So there are many cases like that. So what is the borderline between following and change, like some people?
Okay. As long as a spiritual authority is following the fundamental instructions of Srila Prabhupada and is being accepted as a bona fide spiritual authority by his authorities, then the follower needs to follow. That was Srila Prabhupada's point. So, if a certain spiritual authority is being accepted by his authorities to remain in that position, then I don't have to question his validity or his being bona fide. Of course, if I have doubts, I can clarify. That principle of clarification is always there. But at the end of the day, when this person has been accepted as a bona fide authority by his authorities, then I don't have to question his being in that authoritative position. I don't have to question. I need to follow. And I need to have faith that as long as I follow, I benefit. I benefit. By following, I benefit. And if I have major doubts about his authenticity and whether he's following or not, if I have some major problems, major doubts, then I should approach some other senior devotees and clarify. That's all.
The extension of this discussion. So what happened once upon a time, one devotee went to somewhere and he started preaching. By seeing his preaching that this area is very nice, other group also joined him. They were local and he went from some other place. So that devotee was preaching very nicely. He was talented. His group was increasing. Within same temple, the other party, they started becoming envious. And they started various ways. You stop this, you stop this, this, that. Don't do this, don't do this. And whatever programs he started, whatever things he started, it all is not able to stop. How can? He moved out temple. And still he's preaching very nicely. Things are going very nicely in all other ways, my book distribution and all. And the
So
other
was it-
party, yes. So other party, they're not doing that much in all this thing.
Fine.
So when other people see these type of statements and they have this conception in this mind, ये ISKCON में नहीं है ना? ये bona fide नहीं है. But still he is doing everything perfectly. He is helping in accelerating the movement. So how to see these things?
So who has given him authority to preach?
He was authority initially.
No, was. Now.
So even if I don't see these things who have given authority or not, but he's doing the right thing. But other person, so they are not.
That's what we were telling. Mahamantra is always powerful. Anyone can chant Mahamantra, but when one gets the Mahamantra from a bona fide source, what happens? What happens? One will get the full effects of the chanting because of the connection. Because of the connection, it becomes spiritually potent. The process becomes spiritually potent. That's what we're discussing. That's what we're discussing. The spiritual potency comes from the connection. That is what Srila Prabhupada is making the point here. That the execution of Krishna conscious activities with the body should be directed by the spiritual master and then performed with faith. That should be directed by the spiritual master. That's very important. That indicates the connection. That is the connection. That is from where one will get spiritual potency. If I'm doing something without that connection, on the basis of my own merit, maybe I have some good speaking power and things like that. Of course, I may be chanting. And so some effect will be there because there is some spiritual connection. But it won't last too long. It won't last too long. And the main thing is I cannot make much spiritual progress.
So in this case, what
and so many devotees these days, they ask questions about the Ritviks. And they say, well, the Ritviks are also very successful. So my standard answer is, what's your definition of success? Is making buildings a success? So many people are building buildings. Is doing charity work a success? Is distributing food a success? Is getting followers a success? What is the definition of success? Precise. That is the only one parameter for success. How one is pleasing Guru and Krishna. That's all. There's no other parameter for success.
In this case, Prabhuji, both the groups, many devotees are initiated within ISKCON, and whoever they are connecting new people, they are also getting initiated in ISKCON. But I recently heard that the other group, he sent one boy to some city. He got placement in some city. And the other city leader said that he is coming from that person's group. Don't allow him. He's not in ISKCON.
See, we don't want to get into all these details. Understand the principle. The principle is whatever I do needs to be authorized. That is the principle.
What I am able to see that both are bona fide.
Yeah. See, it is not what I say and what you say. I may say so many things, you may say so many things, you may think so many things, all that is fine. But whether it is bona fide or not on paper, that is the important thing. Right? What do ISKCON authorities say about it? That is what matters. It's not what you think and I think. That is immaterial. So ultimately, the the authorities within ISKCON, what is their opinion, and what is whether they have authorized something or not. That is what is important. And even though I could be doing wonderful activities and influencing so many people, but then we have seen this within the history of a society. When the authorization is not there, then there are so many obstacles. So many obstacles. But when something is authorized, then nobody has any right to question me because I'm authorized by some person, by some bona fide authority. When I'm authorized by a bona fide authority to do something and I do according to that, then I'm very free in doing those activities. Nobody can question them. And then by the connection, I also get the mercy. This is a simple point. This is a very simple point. So therefore, as far as what I am doing, that needs to be authorized. That is the simple thing. What others are doing, not doing, is not my problem. But this is the principle. The principle is whatever I am doing, whether it is authorized or not. That is the point. Okay? Okay, fine. So now let's go ahead. Yes. So now Srila Prabhupada is talking about over here. Under devotional activities, Anushilanam, two types of activities, Pravritti and Nivritti. Srila Prabhupada is giving an analogy. What is the analogy Prabhupada is giving? What's the analogy Prabhupada is giving? Are abhi pada na? Diseased person. Right? Prabhupada is giving the example. Diseased person. So diseased person, he has to do some positive activities and he has to avoid certain things. Correct? So what he has to take? Medicine. And he has to avoid certain eatables or something like that. So there are always some things to accept and some things to reject. So that's pravritti, nivritti. Positive activities to be done, some activities to be avoided. That's nivritti. And all this can be done with body, mind, and words. So with the body, positive activities with the body are? Yes, different services with the various senses. All the various senses can be engaged in the Lord's service. Similar to the mind, yes, one can think about the Lord, one can meditate upon the Lord. So that's what Prabhupada is writing over here. And then words, speech, one can preach, one can chant. So that's what Prabhupada is writing. There are activities of the body, activities of the mind, and activities of speech. Krishna conscious person engages his words in preaching the glories of the Lord. This is called Kirtan. And by his mind, Krishna conscious person always thinks of the activities of the Lord as he's speaking on the battlefield. So that's how. And similarly, there are activities to be avoided with the body. Which activities to be avoided with the body? Yes, the sinful activities. Sinful activities, all the senses can be engaged in unfavorable activities, correct? So all those are to be avoided. Similarly, the mind can think of so many nonsense things that is to be avoided. Similarly, the words, not doing prajalpa, not hearing prajalpa, as Mahaprabhu gave instruction to Raghunath Das Goswami, what? Yes, Gramya Katana, Shunibe, Gramya Katana, Karibe, so all that. So that's how one can engage in favorable activities and avoid the unfavorable activities. So all this comes under the heading of Anushilanam. Okay, go ahead. Okay, now the other important point of Anu is, it is continuous. It is to be continuously performed. No breaks. There are no breaks in devotional service. ऐसा नहीं कि बहुत थक गए, बहुत सालों से हमने चैंटिंग किया है, थोड़ा ब्रेक चाहिए, कम से कम एक दिन तो चाहिए ना? No sir, not allowed. Now you can refer to your verse 9:14. Yes, Satatam Kirtayanto Mam. Satatam. Yes. So it is continuous activity. So in that connection, this is from His Honor's Giriraj Maharaj's lecture. Read. कौन है लाइन में कौन है?
If he is not continuously engaged in the cultivation of devotional service, it cannot be called Uttama Bhakti. It's not pure devotional service.
Okay, next.
someone might come into the temple and the deity might inspire him, and he might put some money in the box just to please the deity, or he might want to sing some bhajan just to please the deity, and then he goes out and does everything else. So that's not pure devotional service. He has to be a systematic. It has to be a systematic cultivation.
Okay, so those activities are not counted as pure devotional service. So they cannot be counted as bhakti activities. They cannot be counted as devotional service. Well, you can call them as sukriti. You can say, okay, some devotional pious activities or something like that. But it won't fall under the definition of bhakti, devotional service. When you talk about devotional service, then it has to be a systematic cultivation which is done every day, not some occasionally performed activity. So therefore, so when it comes to some occasionally performed activity, somebody is coming, he wants to do some service, some singing or whatever. So that is not counted as bhakti. So, okay, he'll get some sukriti with that, but that's not counted as bhakti, devotional service, where one makes some tangible progress. So if one needs to make some tangible progress, then it has to be a systematic cultivation which is done every day. It has to be. Then it comes under the heading of devotional service, bhakti. Point is clear, no? So that is about anushilanam. So now we'll go to the next one, anukulyena, that is favorable. So under this, there are 2 points. The activity must be pleasing to Krishna and also performed with the intention to please Krishna. So both the points are equally important, how we will discuss. Before that, we'll read from Prabhupada's book. So this is again Roman page number 23. So the second paragraph there. Devotional service means Milya.
Devotional service means to prosecute Krishna conscious activity which are favorable to transcendental pleasure of the Supreme Lord Krishna, and any activity which are not favorable to the transcendental favor of the Lord cannot be accepted as devotional service. For example, great demons like Ravana, Kansa and Hiranyakashipu were always thinking of Krishna, but they were thinking of him.
This sort of thinking cannot be accepted as bhakti or Krishna consciousness. So somebody may be performing devotional activities, but the attitude needs to be favorable in a way that Krishna is pleased. Okay, so now if we only consider the first point, that is the activity must be pleasing to Krishna. Okay, go ahead. Okay, so this is from Vishwanath Chakra Thakur. Okay, read.
The definition of anukulya as pleasing for Krishna is both too extensive and too limiting. For instance, the action Anushilanam of a demon attacking Krishna is the rasa of fighting, Yuddha Veera rasa, derived from Utsaharati. From Krishna's perspective, it is pleasing for him since he takes pleasure in fighting with them.
Okay, so when demons fight with Krishna, Krishna is pleased because it's Veeras, especially in case of Hiranyakashipu, Hiranyaksha. So definitely Krishna is enjoying the fight. So that means activity is pleasing to Krishna. So if it is pleasing to Krishna, then it is devotional service. So that means demons are devotees. Correct? Okay, now see the next example.
Again, an illustration of definition being too limited. If anukulya means pleasing to Krishna is given, when Yashoda left Krishna and went to take the milk of the fire, Krishna was not pleased. Thus, Yashoda would be excluded from the definition of bhakti.
Correct? when Yashoda went to attend to the milk on the fire and she left Krishna on the floor, there's description in Bhagavatam how Krishna became so angry, his eyes became red, he started biting his lips and he started crying. He became really angry. So that means Krishna was not pleased. So if Krishna was not pleased, then Mother Yashoda is not a devotee. So that is why if you take only that first point, that devotional service must be pleasing to Krishna, if you take only that one aspect, then it becomes either too extensive or too limited. Now go.
In order to prevent the definition from being too extensive, the first case, and too limiting, the second case, the definition of anukulya should be explained as a devoid of hostility on the part of the performer. This will exclude the demons because they have hostility in the form of hatred for Krishna. This definition will also not exclude Yashoda because she is devoid of hostility to Krishna.
So the first point is understood, right? The demons, even though they may be remembering Krishna, they may be giving pleasure to Krishna. Of course, we know they were Kamsa and these demons, they were always thinking of Krishna. But still, the problem is it does not satisfy the second condition, and that is, yes, the intention to please Krishna was not there. It accidentally happened to please Krishna, but there was no intention to please Krishna. So therefore, when we speak about devotional service, there must be the conscious intention to please Krishna, and it must be pleasing to Krishna. Both the points are important. If you take the second example of Mother Yashoda, though apparently Krishna became angry, but why did Mother Yashoda leave Krishna and attend the milk? Yes, because the milk also was meant for Krishna's service only. And so therefore, the basic intention was to please Krishna, because the milk also was meant for Krishna. And ultimately, Mother Yashoda wanted to please Krishna by saving the milk and making so many eatables out of the milk and all that. So basically, it was meant for pleasing Krishna. And so therefore, and another point is also that the milk is also like paraphernalia of the Lord, because the milk was also meant for Krishna. So that's also like paraphernalia. So therefore, saving the paraphernalia of Krishna, that's also devotional service. And of course, from another perspective, the milk in the spiritual world is also conscious entity. And so therefore, as we know, the milk was thinking, what is the use of me? The Krishna is busy with drinking milk of Mother Yashoda. So therefore, the milk was trying to commit suicide. And so therefore, preventing the milk from committing suicide is also devotional service, because the milk is also devotee. So all those various perspectives are there. Now, okay. Now, so we have, go to that previous slide, those 2 points. Okay. So now we have come to the conclusion that both are required, right? So along with pleasing to Krishna, performed with the intention to please Krishna must also be there. So now somebody may say, well, I have the proper intention to please Krishna. So then everything is taken care, right? If I have the intention to please Krishna, then everything is taken care. Then is that first point also important? Okay, you're emphatically saying yes, you prove it. I give the mic.
Because Krishna is pleased or not, that is important, because my actions Krishna is liking or not, my intention important.
Okay, can you give an example?
Just like Shastras or
any example.
Just like my intention is that I want to read with some devotee some book, but my way is very forceful and all that, so that will be not pleasing. My intention is good, he also likes, but my nature will be forceful, then not pleasing.
Okay, fine. Okay, go.
Generally, we see in battles, Krishna favors demigods. But in the battle between Indra and Vritrasur, we see that although Vritrasur is on the side of demons, but it is highly pleasing to Krishna. And he is glorified in Srimad Bhagavatam.
Okay, fine. Okay, that's special case of Vritrasur, of course. Yes. You want to say something?
So just like Prabhu, once Srila Prabhupada was able to want to perform yajna, sacrifice. So he has his disciple to bring that banana. So they bring banana shake. So we'll please Prabhupada give
fruits. Okay.
So like this intention is good, but Prabhupada was not pleased.
Okay, that was a slightly different incident. Any case. Okay. दूसरा है ना?
Yeah. Although our intention might be perfect, it might be pure, but it is substantiated by the activities that we do. And only when certain rules and regulations are followed, just following the means like going through intentions, it would be just sentimental. But if you are actually substantiating it by the action, especially under the authority's direction, then only will it please the Krishna in totality.
Correct. Okay, so His Honor's Giriraj Maharaj in his lecture gives this example. So as in Bombay, they were going to make life members, meeting so many people and all that. So they came across one rich person, a rich pious person, who, as he was speaking with Giriraj Maharaj, so the man very, you could say sort of proud or very happy about what he was doing. So he told Maharaj, see, I am a very devoted person. Whatever I eat, I always put tulsi and eat. So even when I drink chai, first I put tulsi in the chai, not herbal tea, by the way. So the normal chai, I first put tulsi and then only I drink. So with some sort of pride, he was telling Maharaj. So Maharaj gives this example to illustrate this point that yes, intention is very good. Intention is very good. I want to please Krishna. Krishna likes tulsi. So whatever I eat, I put tulsi and eat or drink. So intention is good. But yes, but the first point is not satisfied. Not pleasing to Krishna. So therefore, either of these points by itself is not sufficient. Both the points have to be satisfied for the activity to be favorable. So it's a very important thing. Practically in our devotional service, very important. My intention may be good. My intention may be good. But good intentions are not good enough. So just like we hear examples of, somebody wants to chant throughout the day, read Bhagavatam throughout, they're spiritual activities. They're spiritual activities. So somebody may say, what's wrong? What's wrong? No. But if they are not pleasing to Krishna, how do we know whether it's pleasing to Krishna? Yes, through his representatives, through the bona fide devotees. That's how we know whether Krishna is going to be pleased or not. I cannot concoct. I cannot speculate. I cannot speculate. Maybe this will be pleasing to Krishna. No. I cannot speculate. I have to find out. Simple ways, find out. Will this be pleasing to Krishna or not? Find out if there's doubt. So first of all, I must have the right intention also to please Krishna. And then the action must be pleasing to Krishna also. So therefore, the simple, safe path on the path of devotional service is to always confirm whether this is going to be pleasing to Krishna or not. I'm just wondering whether I should give this example or not. But anyway, I think so many devotees know it anyways. So just like here, right here in Pune, this place, So devotees had some good intention to have a movable altar. Many of you know it, I suppose, right? So the middle altar had a railway track behind, so that, and a open space. It was there for many years. It was there initially, so that the entire wooden structure could move behind, so that there could be decoration. So the intention was perfect. The intention was perfect. The intention was to serve. The intention was so that there could be nice decoration during festival. The intention was perfect. But is it pleasing? So as soon as the GBC was contacted, the GBC immediately referred to the DT minister, and the DT minister said, no. Finished. That was the end of the matter. So how many ever efforts were made into putting that, to doing all that, in one, just by that one no, finished. The entire thing had to be cut off on the spot. So that is how we know whether something is pleasing to Krishna or not. So intentions may be good. I want to serve this way. I want to serve that way. This is also in accordance to Prabhupada's instruction. Everything may be correct. But at the end of the day, whether it is pleasing or not, I have to find out from whom? From my own authorities. I cannot say those authorities in that place have given permission. I cannot use that as a reference for my activities. Prabhupada's system is you follow the immediate authority. That is the system. Therefore, I cannot use some other reference. I cannot say in the past it was done or something like that. No. Now, at this point of time, I want to do something. I have to ask my immediate authority. Very simple. At the same time, very difficult. Because my ego poses big problems in between. Because I want to do things my way. That's a big problem. But if one simply agrees to this principle of following, then everything becomes very simple. Just follow. And so, even before I plan to do something which is in the gray zone, you can say, better confirm, then so much trouble will be avoided. Otherwise, I will do something and then authorities may say, no, this is not bona fide, authorized, then everything gets nullified. Better is what? Yes. Better is before you do only, you check. And then you do. But some devotees have some other way of doing things. They say, if he asks before, there is always a risk of not getting permission. So better is what? Do the activity and inform. Yes, and he's become an expert. And then if they say something, why you do it? Sorry. Now it is finished, what to do? Now, these are all manipulations. These are all manipulations. So if it is some small activity or something, authorities may not take seriously. But sometimes there could be gross mistakes, major consequences. Major consequences. Just like we have it in the history of a society. Giriraj Maharaj writes in his book, when His Holiness Tamal Krishna Maharaj and Shyam Sundar Prabhu, yes, they thought, oh, Prabhupada is old, he doesn't know what he's doing. And when Srila Prabhupada had gone to Ahmedabad for some program, these devotees cancelled the deal. And of course, Srila Prabhupada was so sharp, he was getting doubts over there only. And he sent Vishaka Mataji to tell these devotees, but they never bothered to listen. And they had to face severe consequences of that. For 1 year, not only they had to run around all the government offices and courts and all that, but for 1 year, whenever some guest would come to meet Srila Prabhupada would call Tamal Krishna Maharaj and he would, see this boy, he cancelled the deal. He had to face that embarrassment for 1 year. So it was very difficult. But Tamal Krishna Maharaj, he thought, okay, let me go through the purification for the mistake. So therefore, if we simply agree to follow in a way that is pleasing to Krishna, I want to please Krishna, so then one follows the system, things become much simpler. Things become much simpler. And I can definitely say that with some amount of experience. It saves a lot of trouble. A lot of trouble. Okay, somebody has some question?
When we are in some project, we are given independence to develop that project. And every small detail, we cannot just go to the authority and check. So how we can understand then it is pleasing? And when we execute something and after that we get feedbacks also. So they have only given us that freedom. And Prabhupada also gave a lot of freedom to develop. So how we can understand that?
So yes, so better clarify how much freedom right in the beginning. What is within the free zone and what is not within the free zone.
Even within the free zone, if we do something, still feedback comes.
So then you understand that it's not in the free zone. You learn through experience what is within the free zone. So best is to clarify. And so if we have made a mistake, fine, no problem. We all learn through mistakes.
No, I'm telling we are okay to clarify, but every small detail we cannot go and to the authorities to clarify.
So every small detail we cannot, like what to cook for breakfast and what to cook for lunch. No.
And sometimes it is told to us like you are an intelligent fellow, you should think and
yes. So fine. So see, one thing is to clarify how much freedom you have, right? One thing is to clarify. And what, from whatever little experience I have had, so the conclusion is, it is better to be called a fool rather than not clarifying. That is my conclusion. So if I ask something and if I'm told, "Arey, you're so foolish, you can't understand this much, you can't understand," it's better to tolerate that rather than not clarifying and receiving bigger chastisement. That is my understanding. So of course, one cannot be too foolish to ask too silly things, but whenever there is, some gray zone, some doubt, whether should it be done, better to clarify. Better to clarify. No harm in clarifying. Okay, the only thing one may have to hear is, "Arey, you can't make this matter." Okay, fine. What to do? I am a fool. Accept. Safer. That is my understanding. See? Okay, fine. We'll go ahead now. So that is the end of the, maybe one or two more points on this discussion. Wait 1 second. So now, so you understood the importance of both these points, correct? So now, somebody may say, that one can say, or Rupa Goswami could have put in this definition, only anukulyena, devotional service should be done in a favorable. Why did he put the anushilanam? The anushilanam could have been omitted, na? The anushilanam could have been totally omitted, that there has to be some cultivation, some activity to be done. If only this devotional service should be favorably performed, only that much could have been said. No? Why anushilanam is also required? Okay.
I don't know directly, but just came into my mind that हम कृष्ण को छोड़ के आए हैं, तो यहाँ भी कुछ भी कर सकते हैं छोड़ के. तो Krishna wants to ensure that we are in the line. Otherwise, we can again revolt against him. So this is a training. So it's always good to follow.
Okay, fine. So anyway, it's a small point, but anyways, the acharyas put this point that so just like it is said, performed with the intention or no hostility or envy. So the example they give is that, okay, even a pot, matka, even a pot may not have envy, but the pot cannot do any tangible activity in a way to so as to please Krishna. So therefore, both the points are important. That's one point. And another point that they raise is, okay, what if only Anushilanam is there? Only Anushilanam, no Anukulyena. Why Anukulyena has to be there? Always it has to be there, Anukulyena. So in that context, they give one example. Srila Prabhupada has used that in a slightly different context. You see further down, Prabhupada gives this example of give something to eat to the man with weapons. Prabhupada has used it in a different context. The acharyas use this in a different context also. So when you say give something to eat to the man with weapons, is it required that he should always bring his weapons while eating? No. He doesn't have to bring his weapons. No? He may bring, sometimes he may not bring. But it's not required that he always has to bring his weapons while he's eating. Yes, he's a warrior, he's a soldier, but it's not required that he always has to bring his weapons. So they use this analogy, this example to illustrate the point that similarly, if the word anukulyena is not there and we say anushilanam. Now within anushilanam, anu is there. Na? Anu means what? To follow. To follow. So therefore somebody may argue that anushilanam is sufficient. Anukulyena is not required. So they use this example to say that just like the person may not always bring his weapons, so similarly a person may perform activity, but it may not always be favorable. It may not always be favorable, though he is trying to follow. So therefore, just to make the matters very clear, Rupa Goswami has made things very precise. It's such a precise definition, one cannot find loopholes. So therefore, Rupa Goswami has made it very clear. Therefore, he has used everything to make it very clear as to what is meant by pure devotional service. And therefore, it's best that there are both the words, Anushilanam as well as Anukulyena. Then the matter becomes very clear.
Some technical question just.
Okay.
So like this definition of Anukulyena, 3 figure points of Krishna, what all is included. These things are given in original literature by Rupa Goswami, or these are commentaries? Further references he has clarified, like after 11th verse, is it?
Of course, Rupa Goswami also has clarified most of the points. And of course, the acharyas have made things more clear with all these examples and all that. So then he has clarified more. The acharyas have clarified more.
Just for more clarification, like for Krishna, you told that it includes Krishna himself, then his expansions, and then paraphernalia or devotees. So like these 3 points are given by Rupa Goswami himself, further clarified by acharyas in their commentaries. like Jeev Goswami or Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur? I'm just asking because I have heard that it's just verses after verses. They're not commentary on verses, is it? On actual Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu?
Of course, specifically these points as to what is included within Krishna and all that, these may not be given directly by Rupa Goswami, but they have been clarified by the acharyas. Yes.
Thank you.
So some things have been clarified by Rupa Goswami itself. Some things have been clarified by acharyas. But words of the acharyas have to be accepted as good as.
Thank you.
Okay. Hare Krishna.
Guruji, just before this, what you mentioned about that, the need of both mentioning anukulyana as well as anusilana. So in that, the question is like, is it possible that somebody is following and it is not pleasing to Krishna? So what could be a context of that? Like he is trying to follow, but like how does he know that whether Krishna is pleased or not? He knows by like.
So that's what now. So somebody could be following the previous acharyas, but as we clarified that it could be pleasing in some other context, in some other situation, but one cannot extrapolate, na? So therefore, I need to find out whether it is pleasing in my situation. So just like we gave the example of chanting the holy names. Somebody wants to chant 64 rounds every day. And one can find Prabhupada quotes for that. Why Prabhupada quotes? Satatam kirtayanto ma. Somebody can say this is Krishna's instruction, Satatam. One could also use Mahaprabhu's third verse, Kirtaniya Sadahari. One can use these quotes and say that, well, this is what Shastra is saying. So what's wrong? It's bona fide. It's following, na? It's following Shastra. So it's bona fide. But whether it is applicable for me or not, and whether it will please Krishna or not, for that, I need to find out from my spiritual authorities. Okay, so that's why all these points are to be taken. Clear so far? We have discussed the Swarup Lakshan so far. So for any activity to be called as devotional service, all these criteria need to be, or essentially the three criteria. The three criteria need to be fulfilled for an activity to be called as devotional service, bhakti. So Swarup Lakshanar, first is only for Krishna. Second is Anunishrinanam. That means it's a cultivation in accordance to the previous acharyas, and it has to be constantly, always. Devotional service means always, always. Whatever activities I'm doing must be for Krishna, pleasing to Krishna, always. Not that sometimes pleasing, sometimes not pleasing. No, then that will be an obstacle in my practice of devotionals, and it has to be favorable. Okay, now let's go to third selection. So this is a summary. Okay, Tadasa Lakshan, two Tadasa Lakshan, Anya Abhilashita Shunyam and Jnana Karmadi Anavritam. Okay, so those are two Tadasa Lakshan. So now Anya Abhilashita Shunyam. So this is a sort of breakdown. So Anya means other. Abhilash means desires. Ita means motive. And the suffix ita indicates the motive, and shunyam means zero. So anya abhilash have to become zero. Anya abhilash, not all abhilash zero. So what is anya abhilash? Any abhilash other than the desire to please Krishna. All those desires have to be made zero. As Srila Prabhupada in so many lectures, Prabhupada would say, one cannot become totally desireless. That is not possible. As long as one is sentient, living, desires have to be there. If there are no desires, then as good as stone. And Prabhupada says in many lectures. Okay, let's read from Prabhupada's book first. Okay. This is Roman page 24. That means almost towards the end of this introduction. The second paragraph, the definition of a pure devotee. Did you get that?
The definition of pure devotee, as given by Rupa Goswami in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, can be summarized thus: his service is favorable and is always in relation to Krishna. In order to keep the purity of such Krishna conscious activities.
Right. So see, in order to keep the purity of such Krishna conscious activities. So activity may be Krishna conscious, but in order to keep the purity, or as we said, the word Uttama Bhakti is being qualified as to what exactly is Uttama. Okay, it's Bhakti, agreed it's Bhakti, but what makes it Uttama, or what makes it pure, as Prabhupada is saying, in order to keep the purity of such Krishna. Go ahead.
One must be freed from all material desires and philosophical speculation. Any desire except for the service of the Lord is called material desire.
So, very precise definition of material desire. So, very broad definition. Any desire except for the service of the Lord is called material desire. So if we really want to say that we are practicing Uttama Bhakti, then we have to check all our desires, whether this desire is for the service of the Lord or not. So there could be some desires which may not exactly be for the service of the Lord. So we want to come to the platform of Uttama Bhakti, then all such desires have to be made zero. So this is a very precise definition which Prabhupada is giving. Any desire except for the service of the Lord is called material desire. Point to think over. Okay, go ahead.
And philosophical speculation refers to the sort of speculation which ultimately arrives at a conclusion of voidism or impersonalism. This conclusion is useless for a Krishna conscious person. Only rarely by philosophical speculation can one reach the conclusion of worshipping Vasudev Krishna. This is confirmed in Bhagavad Gita itself. The ultimate end of philosophical speculation then must be Krishna, with the understanding that Krishna is everything, the cause of all causes, and that one should therefore surrender unto him. If this ultimate goal is reached, then philosophical advancement is favorable. But if the conclusion of philosophical speculation is voidism or impersonalism, that is not bhakti.
Okay, read one more paragraph.
Karma or fruitive activities are sometimes understood to be ritualistic activities. There are many persons who are very much attracted by the ritualistic activities described in the Vedas. But if one becomes attracted simply to ritualistic activities without understanding Krishna, his activities are unfavorable to Krishna consciousness. Actually, Krishna consciousness can be based simply on hearing, chanting, remembering, etc. Described in Srimad Bhagavatam are 9 different processes, besides which everything done is unfavorable to Krishna consciousness. Thus, one should always be guarding against fall downs.
Okay, one more small paragraph.
Srila Rupa Goswami has also mentioned in this definition of bhakti the word jnana karmadi. These karmadi, fruitive works, consist of activities which are unable to help one attain to pure devotional service. Many forms of so-called renunciation are also not favorable to Krishna conscious devotional service.
Okay, so Prabhupada explained both Anya Abhilashata Shunyam and Jnana Karmadhyana Avritam. Okay, so we'll go one by one. So Anya Abhilashita Shunyam. So Anya Abhilash, all other desires, as Prabhupada has clarified, all other material desires. And what's the definition of material desire? Any desire except for service to Krishna. So all such desires have to be made zero. Now, there is an interesting suffix here, ita. Rupa Goswami could have just said anya abhilash shunyam. Why did he put that suffix ita? Okay. So ita indicates motive. Even if one has some desire, apparently material, what is the motive behind that? Okay. So we'll just see what the acharyas have to say about this ita. Go ahead. Okay, we'll come back to this. You go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. Okay, read this. Previous one.
In the verse, the phrase Anya Abhilasha Shunyam has not been used. Instead, the phrase Anya Abhilashita Shunyam has been chosen. This means divide of other desire which are as deep-rooted as one's nature.
Good.
In death-threatening situation, a devotee may say, "Oh Lord, please save me, your devotee, now from this danger." Because it is a sudden, temporary desire, it is not harmful to his bhakti. That is because the desire arises beyond his control, opposite of his devotional nature. That desire is not his nature.
Okay. So the ita has been added to include such desires which may arise all of a sudden in death-threatening situations. So when there's a death-threatening situation, so devotee may spontaneously call out to Krishna for help because the devotee has no other shelter. So therefore he says, the desire arises beyond his control. Beyond his control. Just like even in the Bhagavatam, we find devotees calling out to Krishna for help in death-threatening situations like Draupadi, Gajendra, okay, the Gopas. Of course, Ajamil was not a devotee at that point. But we have example of Uttara calling out, and even Arjuna when he sees the Brahmastra. So these are all pure devotees, but still they're calling out to Krishna for help. So this is something which is beyond one's control because the devotee has no other shelter. It is not with a specific motive for fulfillment of some material desire. There's no material desire there, correct? It's just a spontaneous call out to Krishna for help. And therefore he says, because it is a sudden, temporary desire. Both those words are important. It is sudden and it is temporary. It is not that all the time now he calls out to Krishna for help. So it is not something planned. That is the first thing. It is not planned. It is sudden. And second is, it is temporary. That means it is not something which is repeated again and again. So it's not that today for some reason, okay, today is fasting, but for whatever reason, if on particular day I don't get prasad, so I'm feeling terribly hungry and weak. So I call out to Krishna, Krishna, what is this? Okay, one day excused. But it's not that every day, Arey, what is it, Krishna? I didn't get my favorite Mahaprasad today. So it's not something like that, which is planned, which one is asking every day or something like that. So both those words are important. It is sudden and it's a temporary desire. Then it is not harmful to his bhakti. Why? As we saw, the ita means the motive. What is the motive behind that? So even if a devotee calls out to Krishna for help in death-threatening situations, what is the motive? Why he wants to save his body? Yes. Basically, it is to serve. So that means there is no other motive other than the desire to please Krishna. Ultimately, even the desire to save his body is meant for service. So therefore, such a desire is not harmful to his bhakti. And there, because the motive is correct, therefore the ita indicates the motive. Even if a devotee has some so-called material desire, what is the motive behind that desire? Whether it's favorable to Krishna consciousness or not, that's important. There's another comment by Ajiv Goswami. Go ahead, next one. Read.
Therefore, superficial, fleeting desires or desires for self-preservation do not exclude one from pure devotional service, and thus pure devotional service can be executed in the stage of sadhana bhakti.
So, again here, see the quality of those desires is important. Superficial, fleeting desires. So, fleeting means what? Temporary. Fleeting also indicates sudden. So superficial, fleeting desires for self-preservation. So when there are death-threatening situations, do not exclude one from pure devotional service. And thus pure devotional service can be executed in the stage of sadhana bhakti. Because just like if a devotee is very exalted, Uttam Bhakta, then even in such situations, he may not call out to Krishna for help. Like, yes, Prahlad. Prahlad never even called out to Krishna for help, even in those death-threatening situations. Another good example. Yes, Ambarish Maharaj. Ambarish Maharaj was in it. Yes, Haridas Thakur also. Madhavendra Puri. So yes, so these are very exalted devotees. So these are on the topmost platform of devotional service. So then, if one takes those examples, then one may think that I can never practice pure devotional service. But taking this point into consideration, then yes, sadhaka may call out to Krishna for help in death-threatening situations because there's no other shelter. But that is included within pure devotional service. And therefore, sadhana bhakti is also within pure devotional service. Sadhana bhakti is not out of pure devotional service. It is within pure devotional service. So sadhaka may have some desires like that, may call out to Krishna for help. But as long as they are in such death-threatening situations, temporary desires, then it's fine. As long as the motive is correct, then it's fine. So that's how sadhana bhakti can be included. Okay? Is this point clear? Why the anya abhilashita? So, if we want our bhakti to be uttama bhakti, pure devotional service, then no other desires other than the desire to serve Krishna. So all other desires for name, fame, this, that, all of them go out of pure devotional service.
We have Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, "No, maro vi rakho vi jo ichha tumar." And in Shikshashtakam, the last verse, even if you embrace me or you make me broken-hearted.
Correct.
So when we see such aspirations and at the same time...
But who are those devotees? That is what we were discussing. Who are those devotees? Bhaktivinoda Thakur, as we will see in the later chapters, that prayer of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Srila Prabhupada puts it under the category of Atma Nivedanam. That's the example which Prabhupada gives. So, very exalted. And the other example you gave us? Aslesha, that is whose prayer? That is practically Radharani's prayer.
So at the same time, there are some devotees who call out for Krishna for help, and both are considered pure devotees.
Yes. So therefore, both are considered pure devotees because one is at the level of sadhana, one is at the level of prema. Right? And so both are correct as long as the motive is correct. So if a devotee at whichever level, sadhaka, bhava, prema, whichever level, if a devotee calls out to Krishna for help with the right motive to serve, then it is still considered within pure devotional service. That's the reason why Rupa Goswami has added that suffix ita. To include such desires within pure devotional service, he has put that suffix ita.
And then what should be the response if that devotee desires something for the service of the Lord, but that desire is not fulfilled? To give an example, like when spiritual master's health is not good, devotees often pray, and sometimes Krishna takes the spiritual master to him. So how we should see this?
Krishna's plan. That is Krishna's plan. So I can pray, and that prayer is included within pure devotional service, fine. But what Krishna will do, that is Krishna's plan, and who can understand Krishna's plan? Right. But that is Krishna's perspective. But we are talking about devotee's perspective. Whether devotee is practicing pure devotional service or not, that's the point under discussion. What Krishna will do, that is not in my control. But whether that activity is within pure devotional service or not, that's what we are discussing. So as long as the motive is correct, then it is to be included in pure devotional. Check. Anything else on this point? Okay, fine. Now let's...
Prabhuji, you said there should be no desire of name, fame, glory.
That is too gross.
But I have, and everybody mostly we face that. So then we are not doing pure devotions.
Okay. We have a desire. Do we want to get rid of the desire, or we think it's fine? That makes the difference.
But unconsciously we want, actually. Desire is there that we don't want, but it is always we get.
So yes. So the sincerity of purpose makes the difference. Prabhupada writes this in one purport in the 5th canto. The sincerity of purpose is what is important. So yes, because I'm not yet fully purified, I may have such desires. But when that desire comes in my mind, what do I think? Do I think, chalta hai? Do I think that way? Or I sincerely pray, I want to get rid of this desire. That makes the difference. So desire may be there because I'm still not purified. But when the desire comes, then I should sincerely be thinking, oh, what type of desire is this? I don't want such desires. That is sincerity. Then when that sincerity is there, then that determines progress.
In our current stage, we want some accomplishment that we have done something. Because without that, to be enthusiastic.
Balam rice and ghee. So fine, as long as it is being sanctioned by the spiritual authorities, they're saying, okay, fine, you do this, you get this. As long as things are sanctioned, it's fine. But ultimately for pleasure of Guru and Krishna.
But in between, we also get, and
so that's a contamination. So that's why we're discussing this. We are discussing this to understand what is bona fide, what is right, what is wrong. That's why we're discussing this. So agreed. I have contamination, agreed, because we're not totally pure. But then at least I must sincerely desire to get free of the contamination. That is my sincerity. If I am thinking it is okay, that means what? That means there's a problem in my practice. That means that's a red signal. That is why we're discussing all this. To understand what is okay and what is not okay. So yes, understood that, okay, we are not yet totally purified. Some material desires may come, some other desires may come. But then I have to understand that is not good for my practice. That means I have to try to get rid of them. If I justify it and I say it is okay, then it is watering the weeds. Watering the weeds. So just like Bharat Maharaj, he developed attachment for the deer. And what he did? Did he try to get rid of the attachment? No, rather he justified it. And then you see the result. That is why we're discussing. So if we see some wrong desire entering, then I need to clarify whether this desire is correct or not correct. And if it is not correct, then I have to try to get rid of it and not justify it. Chicken.
That time we are not having this mode, means sincerity. But sometimes we need appreciations. Because of that, it will move. So it will consider as a pure devotion.
See, understand the principle. In our initial days of Krishna consciousness, or even now also it's initial only, what is that? So we may have so many anarthas, so many wrong desires, so many things may be there. Agreed. But at least we should know what is bona fide, what is right, what is not right. And what is not right, we should gradually try to get rid of those desires. It's not going to happen overnight, agreed. But at least we should know what is right and what is wrong. And what is wrong, we should try to remove. That is the point.
Initial means purification process.
Yes, so we have to continue the process, because the more sincerely we perform the process, the more purification will take place. To give just like chanting the holy names. It's a powerful purificatory process. Holy name is not different from the Lord. Very powerful. Nam Nam Akari Bahuda Nija Sarva Shaktis. Krishna has put all his potencies within the holy name. How powerful it is.
When we chant attentively, then
that is the point. That is the point. So, if I'm not getting purified, that means there is a problem with my quality of chanting. That means I need to improve. That is what we have to try. We have to improve the quality of chanting, improve the quality of hearing, improve the quality of our services. Everything we should try to improve, because the more we try to improve, the more purification will take place. Then all these unwanted desires will gradually go away. And of course, if there is some special method, special sadhana that needs to be required to eradicate some specific anarthas, that also we can do under guidance. So if there are some material desires, some anarthas which we are feeling are not going away, then we should take guidance, and under guidance try to do something. Okay?
There is one desire, like I want to serve Krishna in by going back to Godhead. That
Good,
place.
very nice.
And
very nice. We all want to go back to Godhead.
Another desire.
That is a bona fide desire.
No, another top above that.
You have something above that also.
Anywhere you send me, Narak, wherever you send me, hell or heaven or anywhere.
First go back to Godhead and then go to hell or heaven.
The first desire is little bit contaminated, no? Like what? I'm not ready to serve him at anywhere.
Then why you want to go back to Godhead?
No, I want to serve there, but I have a condition there that, when I'm in hell's planet or anywhere I'm sent, there I don't want to go. I want to go to back to Godhead and serve there. So that is contaminated desire.
So how can you put conditions?
Yes.
No, pure devotional service means unconditional, no conditions applied. So yes, so therefore, yes, my only desire is to serve. That should be my only desire. So why I want to go back to Godhead? Only to serve.
But here also we can serve in material world.
Yes, you can serve. But then there is problem, na?
But this is the topmost desire.
The topmost desire is only to serve. That is the topmost desire. Where Krishna wants to put one, that is up to Krishna. That is the topmost desire. But desiring to go back home, back to Godhead is not wrong, because that is the most conducive place to serve.
That is not contaminated?
If I want to go back to Godhead, that desire is proper, because in the spiritual world, that is the best place to serve. But when I develop that consciousness to only serve, then I'm also ready to serve anywhere. So if I say I want to serve only in the spiritual world, then that is conditional devotional service. I can desire to go back to Godhead because that is the best place to serve. So that desire is proper. It is my home, right? Back home. So I want to go back to my home. So it is proper. But when I develop that perfect desire to go home, then I'm also ready to go anywhere. Looks a little contradictory, right?
There should be no getting rid of the material. That thought should not be there. Only service.
Yes. So when I come to that stage of purification, where I'm qualified to go back home, back to Godhead, at that time there is a desire to serve anywhere. But at our stage, it is good to desire to go back home, back to Godhead. But when I actually come to that platform to become qualified to go back to Godhead, then I'm ready to serve anywhere. Hope you got something out of that. Okay, we'll take one last question now.
Prabhuji, sometimes like devotees, they are in some situation, the message or health crisis, please pray for me. So what best prayer we can offer, and is that pure devotional service? Or even sometimes we ourselves in some situation, we message devotees or call them.
Srila Prabhupada taught us how to pray. Yes, when Srila Prabhupada was very sick, 1974. So that time, actually Prabhupada didn't tell. Devotees asked Srila Prabhupada, can we pray? Srila Prabhupada didn't ask. But devotees asked. So when devotees asked Srila Prabhupada, can we pray for your health? Then Srila Prabhupada said, okay, then you pray like this. My dear Lord, if you so desire, let our spiritual master have a good health. Like that, something. So, but that does not mean you put that phrase, if you so desire, and then ask for anything. If you so desire, please let me have a nice Rolls Royce car or whatever. So not like that.
In health, they may not be devotees, but say, please pray for them. They are not in good health. So how we should see it as, like, should we pray or?
See, so therefore, the ultimate principle is ultimately whatever is pleasing to the Lord. See, first of all, what is within my control? Is there anything within my control? No, it is nothing is within my control. So yes, okay, I can pray. Again, taking that same point into consideration. My dear Lord, if you so desire, if you think it's beneficial for this person, fine. That's the way we can pray. And ultimately, even if we don't pray, Krishna is definitely the best well-wishing friend of every living entity, and whatever he does is for the best benefit of every living entity. If we have faith in that, Surudam Sarva Bhutana, Krishna himself has said, if we have faith in that, whether we pray or not, Krishna will ultimately do the best. Yes, but we pray because we understand that we are helpless without his mercy. But ultimately, Krishna will do whatever he likes. But I need to express my humility. Therefore, we pray. But even if we don't pray, Krishna will do. Anyways,
This it's in the similar context actually. When Raghunath Das Goswami is praying to Nityananda Prabhu in Panihati, so he uses this term that Nirvighne Chaitanya Pao Kara Asirvad. So in that he is praying that okay, please arrange for me to get the shelter of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu without any obstacle. So this how to understand, because devotees generally they don't ask Lord to okay, there should not be any obstacle in my life. But Raghunath Das Goswami being a pure devotee is asking that. So like is it bona fide? Like if let's say I am going through some very terrible obstacle, which is
that is why we discussed everything is based on
motive.
Motive. What is the motive? So if the motive is very pure, simply to serve, then that type of prayer is bona fide. So again, it has to be pure. As we said, one cannot just put that phrase, if you so desire and desire anything material. Devotee also can desire, no? I want to earn a huge amount of money. For what? To serve. One has to be sincere.
This only, like actually sincerity is very deep quality. Somehow it is like when I am having some desire, it's very difficult for me to understand whether it is a desire born out of my genuine desire to practice Krishna consciousness, or I want something else out of it, because it's like a very inner layer of consciousness, intentions and things like that. We are very grossed in, at least I am speaking for myself, I'm very grossed.
So therefore, on the subject matter of offering prayers, one point that is told is, it is always best to repeat the prayers of the previous acharyas or the prayers of the Shastras. They are the most bona fide. And even if we offer personal prayers, the personal prayers also must be in line with the Shastric prayers. That is safe. If there is any other prayer, then we have to find out whether it's bona fide or not. So we can ask some senior devotees if it's bona fide or not. Because as you rightly said, understanding intention, sincerity, all that in the conditioned state is very difficult. So therefore, the best is to follow. If you have doubts, clarify. Okay? Fine, we'll stop at this point and we'll continue our discussions on the remaining part tomorrow. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu ki jai, Samved Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare